Hello and welcome to another video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout. My name is Joe and today I'm going to try and pick the best players for game week 1. So whether you think they're the best players, do let us know in the chat below. But I think it's a good team here. But it's not my team. I want to stress it's not my team, and it's not the team I would go into for, say, the first 6 weeks, 12 weeks, whichever. This is just for game week 1. Okay, so what I'm going to do is have a look at the fixtures, show the team that I've got there, show that how I've been using the Fantasy Football Scout planner tool in the app to get that team together. Also got some stats as well to show you as well, and I'll give a bit of insight into my team as well and why my team's a bit different to this one, because obviously I'm thinking a bit more long term beyond game week 1. Just a reminder, do press that like button, it does really help us out. Do remember to subscribe, keep up to date with our latest videos and podcasts, and also do check out membership offers at Fantasy Football Scout. Get access to all the tools and gadgets to help you climb up your mini league. Let's have a look at the fixtures first, see what we're dealing with. Okay, so this is sorted by, so I've looked at the season ticker in the Fantasy Football Scout members area, sorted it by difficulty, and this shows that Tottenham against Burnley, top fixture according to this, according to fixture like on paper, the best fixture. West Ham against Sunderland, Everton against Leeds, and then, well, that Everton-Leeds clash is good for both sides, they say. Sunderland have got West Ham, so there could be some goals there for them. This Nottingham Forest-Brentford game, it favours that as well. Arsenal against Manchester United favours Arsenal in that one. Brighton against Fulham, even though Fulham are a bit of a bogey team for Brighton, it favours Brighton there. And you've got Man City against Wolves a bit further down, but still a very good fixture, as is Chelsea against Crystal Palace, potentially. And then you've got Liverpool against Bournemouth. If you look at the market odds, though, in terms of percentage of or rather likelihood of a team to score 2+ goals, is this Liverpool fixture against Bournemouth. I do like this one. First Anfield game, new look front line in a way for Liverpool. Bournemouth decimated at the back, could do okay, but I don't know what sort of side Bournemouth are going to go up. And Salah usually does well in the first game week. He's a traditional game week 1 captain. I think he's got returns in every one so far of varying degrees. So there's lots there. Teams I'm not so keen on. Bournemouth, obviously, for that Leicester fixture. Manchester United against Arsenal is not great. Wolves obviously take on City, not great. Newcastle, I don't like. It sort of, fixture ticker wise, on paper, it's a bit iffy about Aston Villa against Newcastle, but I think that's a good fixture for Aston Villa. I think Newcastle aren't doing well, and Aston Villa traditionally score a hatful against them. So I like that one. I like Aston Villa assets, and Aston Villa's fixtures are really good from game week 2 onwards. So I would check that out there. So yeah, there's some strong fixtures there. Tottenham are interesting. They did really well against PSG for 85 minutes and then folded. So that's never changed Spurs. So they drew level and then lost on penalties. So they snatched defeat from the claws of victory there, or however the phrase goes. So let's have with all of that in mind, let's have a look at my best picks. Okay, so here's the team. What I'll do is I'll read this out for the benefit of those listening to the podcast version, and then I'll go back into that, look at the sort of formation I've gone for, and obviously, crucially, the players, why I've picked those sorts of players. So I've got Sells in goal. I've also got a Murillo in my backline in a 3-5-2. I like midfielders. I like defenders. I'm not so keen on the attackers. And this week as well, I think I'm particularly keen on some midfielders. So I've got Porro there for Spurs. I'll come back to him in a sec. I've got Wan-Bissaka at West Ham. So I've got 3 in defence there for that. Across the midfield, I really like the Liverpool attack for this one. I've gone for Gakpo, Salah as captain, and Wirtz as well. So I'm a little undecided who's going to score a lot. There's going to be goals in this. I don't know who's going to score, so I've just picked them all. And I think there could be a lot of returns here. Palmer at home to Crystal Palace on paper is the sort of second best captain, but I don't know about that Crystal Palace tie. But I think it's still a good fixture for him. I've gone for Dewsbury Hall to complete that. I'll come back to him in a sec. Up front, got Ollie Watkins, Bowen. I call that the talisman front line there. I'm not messing around. I want 90-minute men who are absolute talisman for their teams. On the bench, so I've gone absolutely cheap as chips here because in order to afford all of those attackers, so I've got, arguably, well, we'll come back to Dewsbury Hall in a sec, but arguably the rest are really strong. They could all get double-digit hauls. So I've gone for Dubravka, 4 million, playing Tottenham, so stay on the bench. I've gone for the two Leeds 4 million players that should start. So if one of my players here in this imaginary game week 1 top pick side didn't play, then I would have Rodon and Goodmanson coming in there, and I've got Mark Gui there just because I don't like 3 forwards at the moment, and so he's pretty good. He's 4.5. It's as cheap as you can get in attack. I think there was one year where we did get a 4 million midfielder briefly. I can't remember where. I think he may have been from Burnley actually, but 4.5 is as cheap as you can go. So they're all nestled in on the bench. All of these others should start, so there shouldn't be a problem. But if any of them don't, I do back the Leeds back line because they should start. Rodon, at least defensive contributions. Goodmanson could get an attacking return from the flank. They've been rare in his previous club. I think he's come from Lille. So there. Okay, so what I've gone for there, I've gone for, there's nothing in the bank there. So I've absolutely maxed out on that sort of potent attack. And I've used the FPL planner tool at the app there. And what this does is, it shows you this sort of expected points you could get. And it gives you a percentage in terms of, so obviously the perfect team for that game week is 100%. I yet to get that. 90, I don't know if I've got 98% is pretty amazing. This is about the best I can get, really. So 64 points. So my own team, I think it's at the moment I'm on for expected points of 58, and it's something like about 90%, and that's pretty usual. I would say 90, 91, but 98%, that's pretty amazing there. Obviously that's just a sort of a conservative estimate for something. I mean, obviously Salah could get a huge haul there. Instead of predicting getting 7 points, you could get 30 if he hauls and you captain him, obviously there. So let's go back to defence then. So I like the Nottingham Forest defence at the moment. They were really good at the last season, and they were really good against top sides and against bad sides. They were really good last season, but also in pre-season as well. Their attack I'm not so keen on. So I've seen Chris Wood in a few teams, not so keen myself at the moment. They can't score, but they are keeping clean sheets. So the emphasis there is on defence. So I like doubling up there. You've got Murillo and Sells. Murillo, really good for defensive contributions, so he's very strong there. Now, if you're keen on defensive contributions and you like the Everton fixture against Leeds, so I haven't got an Everton defender in here. If you like that fixture, it is away for Everton against Leeds, returning to the Premier League. I think they're going to be a good side as well. Then you could go for Tarkowski. So he's also good for defensive contributions. He actually was in my side. So on these picks, I had Sells and Tarkowski. But then yesterday, I heard that Branthwaite has got a hamstring injury, which can possibly keep him out for the remainder of the year, 2025. So I don't like the Everton defence as much there. So you'd want a clean sheet there. I still think Tarkowski could get defensive contributions, but I think Murillo against Brentford at home, I think there's clean sheet potential there, and so doubling up there. I've gone for Porro as Spurs. Now I sort of need you a couple in Van der Ven and Porro, and I had Brennan Johnson as when mid game last night when they were doing well. I'm recording this on Thursday, by the way. So when they played in the Super Cup against PSG, and then they just capitulated. So same old Spurs. So I'm not going to go heavy on this. So, but I do like this fixture. I do think there's still clean sheet potential, even though it's Spurs. But Porro has been getting defensive contributions in pre-season, which is interesting. And he's got attacking threat as well, playing if they play three at back, got wing back or as a full back. And so I like him. He's got lots of routes to points and he should be nailed on. Hopefully, fingers crossed there. So I've gone for Porro there, splashed out a bit. And to complement him on the other side of this defence, I've gone for Wan-Bissaka. Now, I've seen Diouf in some sides. Great. He has done well in pre-season. And so has Wan-Bissaka, been getting a few cheeky defensive contributions in some friendlies as well. Now, he's quite an interesting player just because I think he links up well with Bowen. We know what he's about. Diouf, he hasn't played for West Ham in the Premier League yet, so I don't know. Yes, I think he'll do well. Could be the one, but I'm just going with the old faithful. They're the same. They're the same price, 4.5 here. So I've got some stats as well for some of those options. And show Tarkowski as well. So what I've done is I've had a look in the Fantasy Football Scout members area. We have got tables there, and one of those metrics you can look at is defensive contributions. So this is from 2024-25, what they would have got last season in terms of defensive contributions. So if those points were applied, so you need to get over 10 or so for to do well. And Tarkowski and Murillo got double-digit hauls per 90. So this is per 90. So they would get Tarkowski's getting 10, 11 defensive contributions per 90, and Murillo same thing as go. Wan-Bissaka not too shabby, 7 or 8, and Porro 6 or 7 or so 6.58 for him. But Tarkowski, in 2/3 of matches, he's getting defensive contributions. Murillo in over half. Wan-Bissaka a bit less, under 5th of matches, and around 1 in 10. Porro's going to get you these ones. But I like that. It's just a little extra there, and that's why I picked them for this week as well. So let's go back to the picks, and we'll have a look at those attackers there. So yeah, I like Liverpool attack against Bournemouth. The Bournemouth defence I don't like the look of. If this was my team, I wouldn't have so much Liverpool because their fixture against Newcastle could be okay, and then they've got Arsenal. So it's not a good range of fixtures there. So just looking at the fixtures going forward, yeah, Liverpool, yeah, they got that Bournemouth game, then they've got Newcastle and Arsenal, and then they've got Burnley. So it gets better again. So for that particular run, I would like a bit of Liverpool, but not loads of Liverpool. I think Gakpo is fairly, I would say, with Diaz gone, he should be on the left. You think he'd be top choice there. The new kid there, interestingly, didn't come on. He's been doing well in pre-season friendly, but he didn't come on. As Rio there didn't come on when he was needed in the Community Shield. Interesting there. So I think Slot's still relying on these top players here. Salah is pretty. He's untouchable on the right. Wirtz is that sort of number 10, and you've got Etiquette. Oh God. You know the guy I mean. He's a palindrome, perfect palindrome that I can't pronounce, and saying that again. So yeah, Wirtz there I think is very reliable. So I like them. I was put off with the defence. They haven't got Gravenberch. Gravenbach. He is suspended for this one. So I've sort of gone off for 1 week. I've gone off Liverpool defence here, so I've just gone all out attack there. Palmer, as I said, should be quite good against Crystal Palace. Now Dewsbury Hall, in order to forward all of these players, I've got to scrimp a bit. So Dewsbury Hall fits that perfectly. So he's 5 million, just signed from Chelsea. Brighton were interested in him mainly because after at Leicester, so he played box to box midfield role at Leicester. He was in my team a couple of years ago, or 2 or 3 years ago, whenever Leicester were when he was at Leicester then, and they were in the Premier League, and he was great. And unfortunately, I used to bench him as well because he was so cheap, so I'd miss out on his points. But yeah, he's great at getting goals, assists, and also if he's been brought in as a sort of a number 8, and so he could get defensive contributions as well. Could do. So he's got a lot of routes to points. In pre-season, he's in the one match he was on some set pieces that could remain, and he also played in a number 10 role. Now they've just signed Grealish. I think when Grealish's brother announced he joined, he sort of said, Everton's new number 10. So he'll be playing in that role there, the sort of I guess the Rooney role. But Gascoigne, so they've got a lot of big names in that role. So I would imagine there. But Grealish could play out on the wing, could play on the left as he did with Man City, could play in the 10. So Dewsbury Hall was a sort of a number 8. So could be still lots of potential there, and also within games and whenever Grealish isn't there. So I don't know whether Grealish is even going to start this one. I think Dewsbury Hall will. Chelsea sort of ruined him. They, as they do each year, they just buy everyone, and then some of them play, and then they just sell them on, try and get a profit, which is a shame for my type Brighton, because we were interested in him. But you know what happens when Brighton are interested in players and Chelsea are around. So yeah, Dewsbury Hall I think is a really strong option there. You could go for Anderson, bit reliable as well, bit more though. So up front, I've gone for Ollie Watkins and Bowen. I've gone for Talisman. I'm not messing around here. Ollie Watkins has been great in pre-season. He should be. He hasn't really got any competition up front, especially not in game week 1. He'll start. They score a lot against Newcastle. No brainer for me. Bowen as well. I like him for this fixture. I think I like Bowen in general. It's a promoted side. I don't know how good Sunderland are going to be. He's away. He was really good away last season. He's been great under Potter at West Ham. Talisman, every time if West Ham get an attacking return, you look to see who the scorer or the assister was, it'll be Jarrod Bowen. That's how much of a talisman he is there. So yeah, I like this side. Yeah, nothing in the bank. I wouldn't personally have it because it's not long term, but if it was for game week 1 and then you were looking to say wild card or free hit in game week 2, perfectly reasonable, and especially going for that Liverpool side there. Yeah, I've got just looking at I'm just looking. Sorry, I'm just finding my my stats here. So so I was looking at some attacking stats as well. I'll get these up on the screen. So this just shows a little bit about why I picked Salah, Palmer, Watkins, Gakpo, Bowen, why they're here. So their minutes per expected goal involvement, non-penalty last season. So these stats are from last season. Salah every 123 minutes, Palmer every 141 minutes, Watkins every 165 minutes, Gakpo every 182 minutes. So that's a goal involvement a game. But that'll go up because Diaz isn't here. So his goal share should actually go up. And Bowen every 200 minutes, but he's very talismanic, very accurate. Goals and assists. So 24 returns in total for Bowen, 15 for Gakpo, but as I said, I think that'll go up. 24 for Watkins, 25 for Cole Palmer, and I can't even count for Salah. 29 goals and 18 assists. When it says TA there, it means total assists. So that includes fantasy assists. So that means winning penalties. Obviously, that not counting with Salah and Palmer because they take penalties, but for those that don't take penalties, they could get assists there for that. So yeah, they're really interesting stats there. So we're going to have loads of new stats coming up for the season. So yeah, I was talking about those sort of long term fixtures and about why my team is a bit different. So long-term fixtures, Sunderland are pretty good, so you can go in on them a little bit for some of the cheaper players. Everton are good fixtures, but I was a bit worried about Branthwaite's injury. We'll see what happens there. Man City have got strong fixtures. My side has a notable absentee, Haaland, and I have toyed with my own side, and also toyed with doing the game week 1 picks, Salah and Haaland, and I tried, and I still couldn't get a good 11, even for 1 week with Salah and Haaland because of the pricing this season. So that's why I didn't put him in my picks here. But in my own team, and perhaps in here, it would be Salah or Haaland. I think you've got to go for Salah at home against Bournemouth over Haaland away to Wolves. But I think they're both very strong options. And yeah, I was very tempted. I think I came down to, with my team, Bowen and Salah, or go for Wirtz instead of Salah, and then you can afford Haaland there instead of Bowen. But I think ultimately, I'd prefer starting with Salah and then perhaps moving to Haaland in game week 6 when he faces Bournemouth. We'll see though. So yeah, my team as well. I've got 11 out of 15 of those sides, but that could change. And so there's no point in me putting my team up because it changes every day. But at the moment, I've got 11 out of 15 out of my picks that I showed you just now. So my main difference is I've gone for Saka instead of more Liverpool attack. As I said, I don't want loads of Liverpool attack long term. And I like Saka's, especially his game week 2 fixture. So he's in place as the best captain for game week 2. Game week 1 against Manchester United, you never know. Also, I can move him to Bruno Fernandes in game week 3 as a captain or another player, which I like. I've also gone for Rodgers. Let's see if he's fit. We'll have more on that on Team News. I'll do a show with Neil on Friday, so do check that out as well. If Rodgers is not fit, I think I might go for Ruta, Jorginho Ruta at Brighton. I do like him, and it's sort of following my colleague Tom Freeman at Fantasy Football Scouts method of having a fourth midfielder who's sort of a cheeky punt. And I think if I don't go for Rodgers, I would go for Ruta there. I've spent a little less in defence, so Van der Ven over Porro, for example, Williams over Murillo, because I'm not sure I want to play Nottingham. Well, I certainly don't want to play Spurs defence every week, and I don't want to play Nottingham Forest defence every week. Anderson is pretty handy for that. So instead of those double Leeds defence there, I've just got one of those players. Could be East Eve at Burnley as well. And Anderson I like for defensive contributions, and I think you can play him in the tough games or not, and he's just a handy first sub. So that's sort of my thinking at the moment. But whatever you decide, good luck with the game week. I hope that's given you some food for thought. Plenty of good picks this week. But you know what FPL's like? You're full of hope before it starts, and then reality kicks in. But let's hope my game week 1 picks do well, especially if you've picked them as well. Thanks a lot for your time. Take care. See you soon.